A lot has changed in my fitness in the last few months. I have finally reached the A category, climbed up the Zwift in 45 minutes, and even won a big A category race with a long-range attack. And naturally, many people have asked, what the hell did you change? That's what this video is going to be all about. And the first big change that contributed to my fitness improvement was my weight loss. Back in May I weighed 78 kilos and now I'm at 70. That contributed not only to my improved watts per kilo, but also my overall shape. The way I'm losing weight is pretty standard counting of calories. I'm not trying to be particularly scientific and exact about it. I had ChatGPT estimate my daily caloric intake and I'm reducing that number by an average of 500 calories a day with a zigzag method, which means that on 2 days I do 750 calories of deficit, 3 days 500 and 2 days 250. And whenever I cycle, I measure my calories burned with a power meter and that number goes on top of my daily allowance. In short, the more I ride, the more I can eat. As for the calorie count itself, I'm not really exact, I'm merely estimating the caloric value of each meal, and it works. Because what I've found is the biggest benefit of calorie counting is cutting all that crap that went on top of standard consumption. Of course, this will only work if you still have fat to lose. If you are already lean, do not try to lose more weight because you would lose only muscle and your power output would go down. The second big contributor to my fitness gain was a rapid increase in training load. Since May, I've increased my training load almost 3 times, some weeks going over 15 hours of training. Most of that time was spent in the upper zone 2 to be really efficient, but about 3 to 4 times a week I've been incorporating some kind of high intensity work, whether that's intervals or races. I use Xert adaptive training program with a focus on 6-minute power for my training, and it really tells me when should I go easy, when should I do high intensity work, and when should I rest. The next thing I've changed that had surprisingly big impact on my riding are my cycling shoes. I went to S-Work storage shoes, but the specific brand and model do not really matter. What is important is those are really my first cycling shoes that fit me properly. With all my shoes before, my heel was slipping a little bit. And while that didn't bother me when I was riding below threshold, it really had a negative impact when I went over, let's say, 300 watts, because I basically only had to push and couldn't help myself pulling with the other leg. Now that's completely different. Instead of pushing on my pedals during hard efforts, my pedal stroke is way more efficient. And I can ride with high cadence even at power of 400 watts or even more. The fourth thing is somewhat connected to the first one, I guess, but I changed the way I am eating, especially before the high intensity days. The day before I try to have carb-heavy meal like pasta or rice. About 50 minutes before the race itself I always eat a fruit punch, and I finally found my preferred drink mix to drink when I'm racing. It is the carb and electrolyte mix from Precision Hydration. They are not my sponsor, I'm buying it myself, but the big benefit of this drink compared to some cheaper ones is it has an incredible flavor, so it is easy to drink even in large quantities and during high intensity exercise. When I'm doing a shorter race, I mix only about 30 grams of carbs and 500 milligrams of sodium in the drink. When it is harder and longer, I just double it, and when it's really hard, like my sub 3 hour 4 horsemen attempt, I add energy gels on top of that. This is another thing that's sort of connected to the calorie count, but I also restricted my alcohol intake. I didn't remove it completely, I enjoy beer way too much in order to do that, but I drink only in line with my caloric budget and try to have alcohol-free days before the racing days. What's a really nice side effect of that is way better sleep and recovery. Whether you like it or not, alcohol is a substance that disturbs your sleep and that impacts not only your race readiness, but also your will to go really to the red when it matters. Speaking of which, I went really strong into mental training. Because when it gets really hard during a race, there are 3 main parts of your body that can give up at any given time. Your legs, your lungs, and your brain. Only you can decide which one is it for you, but I have learned that for me it was often the latter. Ever since I was a runner, I had a lot of trouble to stay focused and dig deep when the race or test got really hard. That's why I hate FTP tests so much, because it is so easy to give up when it hurts. Since I'm streaming my races now, it is harder to prematurely give up, because I have an accountability towards my audience. But still, it is something I needed to work on heavily, and the best way to do it is to simply go into those uncomfortable situations often. Once you learn that no matter how it hurts, it eventually goes away, it is way easier to do it again and again. I have been also reading books that touch upon that subject. My favorite one is Can't Hurt Me by Navy SEAL and complete fitness lunatic David Goggins. If you have problems with your mental toughness, I would really encourage you to read that one. And if you want to apply it in practice, you can try to climb up the Zwift under 50 minutes. In the following video, I'm going to tell you how to do it.